Oh my gosh. Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to give the Twitch VOD to my editor. Whoops. Okay. Damn it. Okay. Um, shoot. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to give the Twitch VOD to my editor. I'm so sorry, the people on the YouTube side. I totally forgot to start on YouTube. I'm Yeah, we're making sours today. It is one of the most basic ways to make a cocktail, and there's so many derivatives of a sour. And we're making a whiskey sour right now, which is it's in the name what it is. Yeah, sorry about that. Thanks for pointing that out, Shividi. I would have never noticed. That's embarrassing. um, where was I? Da, 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 da. Are we gonna get to an amaretto sour? We're going to make a few of the more basic stuff, and just to show like how broad the spectrum of sours is. But so oh, I was gonna go into stuff like margaritas and daiquiris and whatnot, but then we were gonna riff on it and like show off some of my own inventions, which were made using the sour formula. So that was gonna be my plan today. So we're gonna we put 3/4 of an ounce of simple. Gonna take this lemon rather. Shoot. Okay. I'm gonna take the juice of a lemon and just squeeze it into our shaker. Okay. And then our whiskey of choice. I kind of want to change it up a little bit. So we have our Angel's Envy. We have our Yellowstone. Let's try a rye one. I don't usually make whiskey sours with rye, but maybe that will be interesting today. Some nice overholts, which I got off recommendation from some other mixology VTubers. 2 ounces of rye whiskey. And we're gonna shake that with ice. Simple as can be. Simple as can be is simply uh, some simple syrup, lemon juice, and whiskey. And we're going to shake this up. Just give me 1 sec to grab some ice. It makes sense. I mentioned that we dry. You shine, so keep it on brand. Yeah, probably. You probably influenced it a little bit. It's I also just haven't had rye in a hot minute, so it'd be nice to have some. Actually, I should probably get an up glass. 1 sec. If I were actually smart and prepared, this would be chilling in the freezer because serving stuff into chilled glass is a lot better, but I'm not perfect. So just grab some ice and shake this for about 12 seconds. The exact time, as I usually say, just as you have to play it by ear. How does your ice behave in the shaker and act accordingly? I should probably oh whoops. I should probably get my hat out of the way. Shoot. Okay, which hotkey was it? Oh, there we go. There we go. And there we go. Tail down. There we go. Maybe hopefully that's less in the way. And strain that into our glass. And there we go. A beautiful whiskey sour. Simple as can be, but this is going to be delightful. Rye has a bit more spice to it. Wheat has a little more sweetness. Yeah, I actually am not a huge fan of wheat whiskeys. I do love rye, and I do love bourbon, which is corn based. Amazing color. Yeah, it turned out really nice. Mm. Yeah, if this is your first ever cocktail, it will immediately help you understand like why people are such connoisseurs, why people describe such delicious complex flavors because we only put three ingredients in this, but it has all that's amazing flavor from the rye in it. It brings out all that flavor from your whiskey and it makes it you just realize with a lot of these basic cocktails, the old fashions, the whiskey sours, etc., that there is such a whole new world of flavor in mixology. Like it's a part of why I it's part of why I love mixology so much. It's not that's a way to get drunk. It is a complete flavor exploration, and it's awesome. Mm. Oh yeah, you get a lot of the spices up front. You get that rye flavor like all throughout. And then it's just tinged with that lemon. It's just tinged with that lemon. That sugar helps just uplift all these other notes within it. It's super good. And so I'm actually trying not to drink too much of this too fast because we can make a variation on this right away. There is a really cool. This is like one of the cool things about mixology. That's like so. From a flavor perspective, yes, this will bring out a lot of flavors out of your rye, and it's super awesome. Out of your whiskey in general, and it's super awesome. What would make it this even better is 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 putting spins on it, and we are going to do that during the whole mixing process. But there's also ways you can add to it in other ways. I totally forgot one way. We add a little bit of our lemon peel to it, and just drop it right in there. Or it will continue to leach. It will continue to leach the oils while it's in there, and then so it's going to add some very nice flavor to it. Mm, delightful. Yeah, no, it really like brightens up the flavor quite a lot. It's awesome. But here's a variation we can make right away with our whiskey sour. Give me a sec again to grab it. If you were to take a whiskey sour and then put a float of red wine over the top of it, and in order to float something, you need to make sure it incorporates slowly. So a way to do that is to very gently dip your bar spoon into the drink, face up, face down, and then just pour over the back of your spoon. And now you have a beautiful red wine float on top of your whiskey sour. And now this is a New York sour. This is what they call a New York sour. And just by this little addition, you have added such a cool flair to it. You've added a nice, cool looking layer to your drink, which is going to make you feel awesome when you serve this to other people who don't know how this works. And of course, the flavor. Ooh, yeah. You get like you get the grapes, you get the velvetyness of the wine now interlaced, now also propping up all that delicious sort of all that delicious rye flavor, and it's just a beautiful mix that just adds to your that just adds to the favorite profile. And all we did was add one more ingredient. This is a 4 ingredient drink now, and it's still amazing. It's still complex. If we use a different whiskey, it would taste a lot different. If we use a different red wine, to answer Eris's question, this was a Cabernet. It's left over from whatchamacallit, the Malice cocktail I made. Mm, delightful, delightful. So yeah, that's the whiskey sour. It is so simple and yet it's so effective, and this is the baseline for a lot of different drinks. You can make so many different drinks out of just out of just this formula. So we had lemon juice, simple syrup, and rye whiskey. What if you were to say make this with what if say you were to make this with lime juice? Whoa. Okay. Lime juice, rum, and simple syrup. Well, now you have a daiquiri. What if instead of say the simple syrup, you once again went back to lime juice, but then you give me a sec. Triple sec, like as your sweetener. This is a really tart liqueur, but it's still a liqueur. It leans on the sweet side. And tequila. Well, now you have a margarita. So many drinks that are familiar to you are based around this sour formula, which is to say, a citrus, a citrus of some kind, lemon, lime, maybe even orange juice, some kind of sweetener, usually just the syrup, but maybe you can use triple sec or something, or well, and rather, and some type of main spirits, tequila, whiskey. Uh, let's pull the whiskey we actually. Whiskey, rum, etc. The world of sours is really just so many different cocktails are just built around that formula. If you follow the formula of a citrus, a sweetener, a a citrus, a sweetener, a spirit, you will probably get a really good cocktail. And that's where say I mean, not gonna lie, I'm kind of just winging this, so I'm wondering, should we make those basic cocktails or should we make something fancy, something a little off the record? I do want to. Ooh, man, I haven't had a margarita in a while. Let's make a margarita. So it's gonna when we build our margarita, it is gonna be a little different. First of all, again, instead of a lemon, we're gonna be using a lime. Instead of simple syrup, we're going to be using triple sec. And instead of whiskey, we're going to be using tequila. But we will still get that fun interplay of the spirit, like the sweet and sour, elevating the spirit, making sure we can get all those fun little notes of the spirit, in addition to just the. It, well, we will get to the sweet and sour elevating the spirit, but it's because the ingredients are so much different, it is going to be a wildly different experience, despite the fact that we are still following the formula to the letter. So, let's do that. I do need to rinse out my shaker tins, so you'll have to give me a sec, but let's make a margarita next because I haven't had a margarita in some time and I kind of want one. I just had a thought. What about mulled wine? Imagine the complexity of that. Ooh, that would be nice. I don't have any mulled wine on me, unfortunately. I don't tend to stock up on wine. I only buy wine when I need it. And then after I'm done needing it, it tends to sit there for a while and I just kind of need to drink it pretty rapidly to make sure it doesn't oxidize. I'm making a mulled wine. It's been aging for a few months, but I plan on aging it close to a year. Ooh, that's that sounds awesome. Actually, I hope you'll let me know what that's like. I'll be honest. Actually, I've been procrastinating on this a little bit ever since I announced it because, like, on, on some level, life has been getting in the way, but on some other level, like I just I just been prioritizing other things. But I wanted to I really wanted to work on my Discord, and so it would be fun to be able to like be able to chat with you guys if you had updates on like drinks you're making, or even just food, or if you want to talk anime or stuff, because I like talking anime on stream a lot. Maybe it would be fun to open up that discussion on Discord for just y'all to mention, or like I want to yap more about Uma Musume, except that I feel like yapping so much on Uma Musume on my Twitter is like driving away the people who only came for the cocktail. So it's like I have no idea what to do on social media anymore. And so it's like I do want to try to actually get a Discord going so that we can like if y'all care to hang out there, like we can chat about stuff, and that would be super cool, I think. Anyways, so let's make a margarita using the standard formula. Let's take the juice of a lime. Okay. I forget the proportions of this actually, because it was like lime juice. Actually, I just want to make sure because, like, I know some places add simple. I like to add a little simple to my margaritas too. So let me just check something. Mar Margarita. What is the proportions of a margarita usually? Bro, so many advertisements. One and a half sounds aggressive. We'll see. Yeah, so it's like 1 to 1. I know people tend to like their margaritas pretty tart, so maybe that makes sense, but I don't like them that tart. Well, we can play it by ear. We can play it by ear. So that was the juice of one lime, which is roughly 1 ounce. 1 ounce of triple sec, and finally 2 ounces of a tequila. Um, you should always get something that is 100% agave. That's not usually a problem with any decent tequila, but it's particularly cheap tequilas might not always be that way. So you really wanna make sure that you're getting a pretty decent tequila at the very least. I used to not like tequila at all, and then I started making tequila one, I started making tequila drinks, and they're awesome, just universally. And then secondly, I started using better tequila, and I actually just actively quite like tequila now. Uh, we will shake this mixture with ice, so be right back. I was thinking an up glass for a second, but I actually like it in a rocks glass. It something about it, it feels more right in a rocks glass. So let's shake this. All right. Oh gosh, my mic doesn't want to stay in one place right now. And I'm just gonna open pour this into this rocks glass. Also, I want my mic to behave. Okay. Just gonna open pour this. Okay, we left a little bit in there. Oh, we can do it. We can do it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm basically a genius. All right. There we go. And I would say, like, I like when they just garnish it. Oh shit. Okay, well, that made it overflow. I like when they garnish it with like a lime wheel, and I don't mind the salt thing. I don't like it enough to make it the whole glass. If I were to rim this glass with salt, I would do it with half, and then the other, I would do it with half, and then salt rim on one side, no salt rim on the other side, and then that would be my margarita. But here is my margarita. Ooh, ooh, yeah, you can never go wrong with a margarita. That is beautiful. It's so much more than a when you make it this way without the simple syrup. And I do think I tend to prefer it with a little bit of simple syrup. In fact, let me just add like a little splash of it. I do feel like it needs a touch of sweetness to balance out the tartness. So I'm gonna say like half an ounce. I know that's probably a little bit basic of me. I know that's probably a little inauthentic of me, but I just really like having that extra bit of sweetness to balance it out. Let's just stir that in. Yeah, that tones down the tartness of the triple sec just enough, so you still get that tartness, but it's now moderated a little bit more, and now you get that just it's so much more than a limeade, which is sometimes some margaritas as at say a chain restaurant, and I love those margaritas for the record. Like I love going to say like the Texas Roadhouse or like whatever other chain restaurant you can think of. and just us drinking what's essentially like a tequila smoothie, and it's just like really quite sweet and quite like sweet limey with that tinge of like it's one a smaller pour, two a lower quality tequila, so you get that tinge of like a lower quality tequila, but because it's so muted, it's kind of it's kind of fine actually. I love those things. You can't miss with a margarita. um yeah, but when you get it's a more like more thoughtful, more balanced margarita like this, it's so much more complex than that. You get a lot of those like I don't know how to describe tequila, to be honest. I'm very bad at knowing tequila because I don't know how to describe how it is, other than that it's so much more unique than other stuff. It doesn't taste spiced like a lot of stuff is like gins, rums, whiskeys. There's like a hint of spice to it, and then you get to some fruits, and then the differences lay in like, okay, the distilling process in rums make it taste like funky banana-y. Whiskeys, they taste like you can taste the wood that they were aged in. With the gin, you taste the juniper berries and the various herbs that are in it, etc. Yeah, like it's I don't know how to describe tequila, but I know that I really like it. And then you get like whatever waves you're getting with the tequila, like it just I guess that's what is that what agave tastes like, because it's like you get this like weird sort of vegetalness to it, but in a very pleasant way. Yeah, and it like bounces up and down, kind of like a heat wave. Like you're in a desert, and you know how like the horizon is super wavy, and then it's like, yeah, it's very it's this is weird to say about any liquid, but it's very moist. Like you drink it and you feel very quenched in a sense from the tequila, and it all leads off with that super tart just punch of tartness from the triple sec. Yeah, you get like a real punch of like orangey flavor from the triple sec that then like slowly melts into that tequila flavor but never lets go, and so you get like a nice tinge of orange all throughout the flavor profile, and then just that orange intermingles with the lime super nicely. And then, of course, the bed of that little bit of extra simple we add to it moderates it super well. And I really love. I really love that. I do think, for me at least, I do think you do need to add just a little splash of sugar to this just to be able to balance it a little bit better, because I do think maybe it's just my triple sec, but I do think it's overly tart, and so I do think that hint of sweetness like really moderates it quite a bit, and it's super delicious. Super, it's super good. It's a that you can't miss with a margarita, but when you get a particularly good margarita, it's even better. Oh yeah. Mm. Man, pretty cold of late, especially after that long rain session. Oh yeah, I agree. I I'm legit like wearing full on like sweatpants sweatshirt inside the inside the establishment just because of the fact that it's so cold lately. I went out of my way to like put on sweaters just because it's so cold. How are you, Poké? It's a thank you for stopping by. We're making sours right now, and I'm teaching everyone about sours because I think it's very interesting that we can make so many different things about sours, and that's the thing about this margarita. It's everything that we've already. Much like the whiskey sour, it's very similar in terms of construction. What did we do? We added a citrus component, limes instead of lemons. I'm gonna put these directly in there because I actually kind of like it like that. Um, Triple sec instead of sugar, though we added a little bit of sugar to balance. And tequila instead of whiskey. It is still a sour variant because of the fact that we use the three elements I talked about: a citrus, a sweet, a citrus, a sweetener, a spirit. But it's so much different. This margarita is such a different experience because tequila is so much different from whiskey. Lime adds a adds a pretty unique character compared to lemon. Um, Triple sec adds adds a different way of sweetening the drink than sugar. Forget what booze that made people feel warm. Vodka. I would say almost any booze does that because of like the alcohol burn in some sense. It kind of warms you up. Um, I I'm not 100% sure like what what really gives that heating feeling. I know for a fact whiskey gives a lot of good heating feeling too. Like I, I always love an old fashioned, and yes, we serve that with ice even. But then you sip an old fashioned and you feel warm inside. You feel like it. You feel like something in your chest is like heating up because of just as the whiskey hitting your throat. And I'm not sure or what exactly that sensation would be, but I would definitely feel like whiskey heats you up too. I remember there's some people. I do agree with the idea that vodka makes you feel like you're warming up. I also just hate drinking vodka is the issue, so it's like I wouldn't really recommend it. But I would say that a margarita definitely makes you colder. Like now that you mentioned the coldness, this was probably a little bit of a mistake because margaritas tend to feel cold. But if I were just sip some whiskey straight up, oh yeah, ooh yeah, no no, there definitely you get like a weird sort of heating sensation when you drink whiskey. It definitely feels like it's warming me up, even though it definitely isn't biologically speaking. Beer, I do agree. I beer makes me feel colder, mostly because you always want to drink chill beer because warm beer is kind of nasty. Oh yeah, I just finished the margarita because man, margaritas are fantastic. Okay, and I think the third basic one that I want to do is going to be the daiquiri. So this one will be a little simpler, but then we can move on to riffs on sours. I imagine a warm beer wouldn't warm you up anyways. I think okay. There is but so there's butter beer and then there's something else. Um what was it? What was it? Hmm. It was like a it was like a revolutionary war drink. There weren't really cocktails until like the 1800s, but people were trying to make alcohol more palatable since forever. Um, and so there's a way that like revolutionaries made beer that was like, okay, you heat up some beer and then you put like, I think some lime juice and then some other stuff into it, and then you grated some nutmeg on top of it, and then you drink that, and it was actually like a really nice. It turns out, like to this day, who else? How to Drink did an episode about this and talked about how delicious that was. Um, Rattle Skull. That's why it was called Rattle Skull. Hopefully that was a warm drink. I forget, but it was basically a way to spruce up a beer, and like that sounds pretty good. And then also just the concept of bar beer from like Harry Potter and whatnot. It's not just something Harry Potter invented. It was like an English way to splice up a spice up a beer too, and you would do it with literal spices. It's like butter and like a bunch of baking spices, and then you pour beer into your thing, and then you like simmer it for a while, and then you drink that, and it's actually like, I can imagine that being really good, mostly just because you're just drinking warm butter. You're drinking warm butter and baking spices, so it probably tastes a lot like a pie or a cake. Plus the yeastiness of the beer. So I can imagine that being really good. And that's like a warm way to enjoy beer. But like I've never tried it. I've never tried it, so I wouldn't know. It sounds good though. It definitely sounds good. Let me clean my shaker tins again, and we will make a daiquiri next. All right. All right. All right. Whoa, okay. Enough playing around. So a daiquiri is gonna be the third basic experience type. The first basic sour I can think of, and it is so much like a whiskey sour in the sense that it is just lime juice, sugar, and rum. But once again, because we're swapping out whiskey for rum, because we're swapping out lime for lemon for lime. It is so much different from a whiskey sour, despite following the same formula. And this is a classic drink for a reason too. It's so delicious and it's so simple as well. So let's start with that simple, as is as is usually the case. Just about three-quarters of an ounce to a 4 ounce. It's up to you, but you should have some measure of simple syrup to balance this out. Some kind of this fulfills our sweetener, just as simple as it gets. Simple syrup. Some lime juice. The juice of one lime. As is usual on this channel, I don't really measure these things. I just put it's one lime worth of juice, which is usually roughly an ounce. It usually leans a little under an ounce from my experience, unless you have a particularly fat lime. Alcohol. Hell yeah, alcohol, baby. And for rum, do I want to go with Planary Original Dark? Actually, I don't think I've had the Hamilton A6 for a while. Let me try this. I'm just gonna taste test this real fast. Just want to try it again. It's been a while since I used this. Ooh, yeah, that's delightful. It's very rich. It's very rich. It's a little too rich for what I tend to want to use rums for, but fuck it. Let's do it. I haven't had it for a while, so yeah. Hamilton 86, a Demerara rum. It's a little different from a Jamaican rum, which I usually gravitate towards. 2 ounces of that. Just one more shot. Just one more shot, honey. Just one more shot. Oh, God. Oh, God. Dude, please drink responsibly. In other words, don't drink like I do. I'll be right back once again to grab some ice. How are you doing, by the way, Sven? All right. Let's give this a good long shake. Oh, come on. Don't say that, Sven. You have so much to live for. I promise you. I promise you. A lot of depressing things have happened in my life, and I still find the will to go on because as the best way to prove the people who would hope the way to prove everyone who hopes for your downfall wrong, even if it's your own mental health, is to live on anyways and keep finding the next reason to keep going. All right. And into our up glass, our lovely, lovely daiquiri. It's not as nice of a wash line as I would like, but also a lot of rum drinks I like tend to have a lot more stuff in it. Rum drinks tend to be very maximalist. There's that old saying, something isn't done when there's nothing else to add. Something is done when there's nothing left to take away. Some would argue the daiquiri is that. Some would argue the daiquiri would be perfect by the engineering term because it is as stripped down as it can possibly be. Ooh, boy. Oh, boy, that is lovely. Yeah. Oh, I think, was it Captain Grog or was it like, I forget his rank. The guy that Grog is named after. So the drink Grog is just watered down rum with some lime and sugar because once again, back in that day, back during the seafaring times, they didn't have a way to they didn't have a way to sanitize their water, and then so a way you could do that is actually mixing in a little bit of alcohol just to kill the bacteria in the water. But they didn't want their sailors getting drunk, so it was very much a calculated thing that you can only put like 1 part rum to 6 parts water. It was like super duper watered down, but to make it more palatable they added its sugar and lime. And then there's also a pirate drink where they were trying to just get drunk on rum, where it was kind of a bastardized mix of like sugar, rum, some other fluids, and lime juice. And ultimately, it keeps leading up to the idea that, well, lime juice, sugar, and rum is an absolutely heavenly combination. Mm. This rum is so rich. It's so caramelly. And then you get that lime. Like the lime is actually on top of the rum this time. It is a little brighter. And then so you get this like richness, this carameliness, these like brown sugar, and am I detecting fruits in this? Kind of, yeah. It's hard to say. I just taste like the only way I can describe this rum is that it's so velvety. It's so like rich and like creamy in a way. So like I'm not using this in the it goes down easy sense that a lot of people describe smooth. I'm describing it as smooth in terms of just like it is so like persistent through the drink that you feel this like caramelly richness all throughout the drink. It's so smooth in that regard. I will never describe anything as like smooth or strong because of in the usual ways that people do, because like the alcohol burn of the drink, of you swallowing alcohol and you feeling that burn with alcohol, is your body rejecting the poison that you're putting into it. Like alcohol is poisonous. Let's be honest. It's bad for you for good reason, and there's a reason why they regulate it so heavily. But like that's why I don't account that in the flavoring profile, because that's that's not part of the flavor profile. Or how quote unquote smooth it is. When I say smooth, I'm not talking about how easy it is to go down, which this does go down pretty easily. I think I could serve this to a beginner and they would probably describe it as smooth too, in not the same sense as me. Yeah, but ooh, it's so caramelly, it's so brown sugary, it's so rich. Like it feels super heavy, it feels super creamy, even though it's just as viscous, just as liquidy as everything else, but it's so it really feels super dense. This Demerara rum compared to like the Jamaican rums I have, which are a little do seem a little lighter, and it's really delicious. I don't tend to use Demerara rums. Maybe I should. Maybe I should use them more often. But like, mm, mm, like I think I am getting drunk. Let's deploy it. It's yeah, it's delightful. Like, what can I say? Like, it's especially because we're focusing so hard on this Demerara rum, as opposed to like adding a million things to it, like a Mai Tai, like so many other tiki drinks, which are super maximalist. It's so in a minimalist cocktail like the daiquiri, being able to focus in on the Demerara rum reminds me so much about like why this kind of flavor profile is so good. And I think the reason I don't have this more often is because I think it does get a little lost in those maximalist drinks. Whereas if it gets to be the focus in like a daiquiri like this, it's so much better. Mm, mm. So good. So good. I mean that more my instincts than pure hate. You, I promise you. I promise you. It does get better. Work on yourself, and you will have a better output. You're talking about Vice Admiral Edward Vernon, right? Old Man Grog. That sounds about right. That I feel like somewhere in my memory that tickles something that sounds right. If I remember the history of Grog, I don't remember for sure, but that sounds about right. Yes. I'll, I'll look it up to make sure if and when I ever do an episode on Grog. I think what that would be is like a pirate karaoke, because I kind of want to do that one at one point. But yeah, like every time people talk about historical concoctions with rum, it's always with lime juice, it's always with sugar, and even modern day cocktails involving rum involve some lime and some sugar, if not also like five other things. And so this combination, just a very simple combination, three ingredients, following the formula we were talking about of citrus juice, in this case lime, simple syrup, and a base spirit, this time rum, you get a brilliant, absolutely delicious cocktail that still feels complex because the spirit is complex. The way these drinks, the way these bottles of alcohol are made, they're made with such wonderful complex flavors that all you need to do is help them bring out that complexity with the help of the sweet and sour. That sweet and sour just helps you connect the dots to other tasting notes within the main spirit itself, within the bottle of whiskey, within the bottle of tequila, within the bottle of rum. And it just makes it so it makes you appreciate why people enjoy cocktails so much, why it's considered such an art. why like people can talk endlessly about the complexities of the flavors because they're in there. I promise you. If you're new to mixology, try a whiskey sour, try a daiquiri, try a margarita. You will notice things about these flavors if you really just lay it soak your tongue for a sec. Just really savor the flavor. Mm. Yeah, okay. No, I am getting like some like toasted spices as well. Mm. Yeah, it's just it's it's amazing. It's really good. It's it's something that you can't really understand unless you make it yourself. And that this is why I'm teaching you how to make these sours. It is so easy. It is three ingredients: spirit, sweetener, uh, citrus. You combine those three things and you shake them together, you will get something that is absolutely delicious. And then from there, you can make spins on it. Let's make something that I've made a spin on. Mixology as an art. I wonder if AI would invade it. I actually never watched that episode, but I did like How to Drink did one of those too, where he asked as the chat GPT to like have him make cocktails and then see how good they were based on the recipes. I it's one of those things that I do think AI won't be able to replicate. I'm almost 100% sure AI could try to recreate my videos, my streams with using like an AI generated VTuber model, an AI generated live action video. And then so most certainly I'm sure they could replicate what visually I'm showing you guys. I am almost positive that an AI would not be able to replicate the experience because as much as I want to, I cannot serve you this drink. I cannot pour this drink down your down your throat. Unfortunately, I really would like to serve my drinks to you guys one day. I hope one day that I can go to Off Kai and like start a bar there, a speak with maybe some other mixology VTubers, who knows, and make you guys some drinks. I hope that I can. I've genuinely thought about because like I'm trying to. The wandering Ronin lifestyle doesn't really pay that much, and then my current form of employment doesn't really help either. And so I've genuinely thought about, instead of just chasing the green, what if I try to become a bartender for real? I have I've had that thought cross through my mind, and I might pursue that because I'm gonna need a new job anyways soon enough. And so like being an AI can replicate everything you're visually seeing right now on screen. Like everything on screen right now, it could probably steal my model or make something very similar to my model. It can probably steal my voice. It can probably explain things badly like me and be unfunny and lack critical information like me. And it can probably replicate everything I'm doing on screen. It can create a background with all these bottles in the back. It can show me shaking my shaker. It can show me pouring the drink into a glass. It cannot replicate. It can emulate what I feel when I taste these things. So it's just maybe a generic response like, mm, oh, it's so good. It's like caramelly and nutmeg and this and that. Because I'm not good at tasting notes yet, so I am pretty generic with the way I note cocktails because I'm not good at it. I'll be the first to admit. But unless you make this yourself, you will never know for sure what this is like. And perhaps an AI would emulate mixology videos. They aren't going to emulate experiences drinking this. Not accurately. Not the way I experience these. And sure, it can emulate it might copy what I do and my reactions to it because, as once again, I'm pretty generic and I'm not very good at describing taste, and I mention the same few tasting notes a lot, but unless you actually try this for yourself, you would not realize is how good this tastes or how bad it tastes if I ever make something kind of horrendous. AI music tech is pretty good. I'd like to imagine that I have a good ear for music, but also I like some slops, so that's probably not good for me. Now I'm seeing going into animations. I'll admit, I did actually dabble with the grok animations a little bit. There's something weirdly soulless about them, though. There is something weirdly fake about the animations that, like, it's simultaneously like more smooth than an actual animation is, but that's exactly the problem. You know what I mean? Because of the fact that it moves super, I don't want to say cleanly because that's not correct, but it's like because of the fact that it just moves from motion to motion a little too orthodoxly, too like streamliney. I don't know how to describe it. It's just because I was curious about it. Like it was weird because as the human body is not perfect. When you move stuff, there is a little shakiness to it. There is a little imperfection to it. It's sort of, yeah, that's what it is. It's like, okay, when I do this, this is not a straight line. Probably there's probably a little bit of there's probably a little bit of jiggle to it as like my hand shakes like ever so slightly, and then like you see the liquid like bouncing around due to the physics, whereas like everything moves in such a predictable way with AI animation that is, yeah, uncanny. It's like I genuinely don't know how to describe it because I'm not an artist. This is the art I make. These drinks are my art because I can't draw. Like it's yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just not in in being too in trying to replicate reality. They go okay, actually I know how to describe this. You know how video games, like there's some video games that try to simulate realism, sometimes push the realism too far, and it's like, okay, it became unrealistic because you were pushing this realism mechanic. Like any game with a hunger mechanic. Oh, you die after like 30 minutes of not eating something in game because of the fact that like days go faster in game. And then so it's like, oh, if you don't eat in 30 minutes, you die, even though it's like, okay, I've maybe you've gone a full day without eating because of unfortunate circumstances, and it's IRL, and it's like, yeah, it's not necessarily realistic that you die in 30 minutes just because you didn't eat anything. St- Stuff like that. That's how I feel about AI animation. It's like it's trying too hard to go for a weird sort of smoothness that it then feels too uncanny. It feels like it's pushing it too far. And then so like some of the imperfections of something actually animated by a human is makes it feel more realistic when it is going. You know what I mean? Like IRL wise, you easily feel fatigue and start moving slow. Yeah, exactly, exactly. In a video game, you just drop dead after 30 minutes. Whereas, like, and let's say that 30 minutes in game is like 3 in-game days. Sure, you would get really fucked up if you didn't eat anything in 3 days. If you've been drinking water, you can still last. You would feel very weak, but you would still last. Still with 3 days without food, and then once you finally eat some food, you will pretty rapidly get back to where you were. Whereas like in a video game, it's like, oh, your hunger gauge is down, your max health is slashed by like 75%, and your defense is slashed by like 100%. Every hit deals true damage, and it's like, yeah, that's how I feel about AI animation. Is like the way they try to push it to try to feel natural gets pushed too far, and now it feels unnatural again. The suffering. It's too early to drink. What time is it for you? We also have to think about how the character is constantly moving, constantly fighting, so constantly losing calories and all that. Sure, yeah, that makes sense. Not all of them are lazy bones like us. Just some of us just saying on our literally us playing the video game is literally us playing the video game is us lazing around and not really spending calories, whereas our in-game character, as we're pressing WASD and whatnot. Oh, is my camera feed lagging? Has anything else lagged, or is it just the camera feed? All right. Anyways, like you're typing was, then you're moving your mouse and clicking. Like, yeah, it's you're the character himself is getting a lot of cardio in. You, the player, are not. Alrighty. Well, it was on the thumbnail, so I do think it's fun to make it again. Because why not? This was just a genuinely great cocktail, and then it was also it this was a genuinely great cocktail, and also it just looks cool to make. So let's make that again. So I've taught you the basics of a sour. It's just is citrus juice, sweetener, and a spirit. And we've done it 3 different ways that are very basic. 3 ingredient recipes, as we mentioned. But if you follow that formula, you can make if you follow that formula loosely, as opposed to like, if you follow that formula loosely, gosh dang it, one sec. Okay. 3, 2, 1. If you follow that formula loosely and just make sure you're checking those boxes, it has a sweetener in it, it has citrus juice in it, it has a spirit in it, then you can play with that formula pretty aggressively, and you would end up with something amazing almost all the time, such as the what did I call it? Malicious renewal. The malicious renewal that I made for Malice Evermore, the new talents of Face Connect. Give me one sec. Ten in the morning. Oh man. That's unfortunate. It's I hope hopefully you can enjoy something nice. Hopefully you can treat yourself to something nice after work or something. Okay, I was just chopping the nub off of a lemon. If there's like a big old nub on like one side, like this isn't so bad, but it was like really protruded. If it was like really protruded, you tend to want to cut it off because like look how tall it would have been otherwise. And then so I decided to just chop that off. Anyways, so if we follow this formula, we should be able to make something good, right? So, oh, that's why I did for Malice's cocktail for Face Connect. I decided to make a sort of a New York sour, but in a gin way with a little bit. It's different of a methodology. First things first, and this is the opposite of how you should do things because of the fact that you want to use your cheapest ingredient first as opposed to your most expensive, just in case you mess up. But I started with my gin, my Empress gin. And just to show off, I'm going to show it to you right into the glass we're going to pour it in later. And then I knew. So if you've ever seen Malice Evermore, she has a very pink design. She's wearing a very fancy, if kind of sexy, given that she shows off a lot of cleavage in the design. But I tend to appreciate Face Connect designs because they aren't all in on sex appeal. Well, they do have. There is some tastefulness in the fact that they are at least trying to make a. They are at least trying to make a theme for their characters as opposed to just exposing as much as possible. So they do have cool designs for their characters. And so I knew that despite this bluish, purplish appearance, that if I were to introduce some citrus juice to this, let's say some lemon juice as you just saw me squeezing, that would turn pink right before your eyes. How cool is that? Ain't that hella cool? Ain't that hella cool? Unfortunately, we're not gonna serve it like this. We there is a little more work to be done. Wow, did the my camera get knocked out of shape again? Or was it always like this? It might have always been like this. Oh yeah, no, it was the cutting board that got moved. Okay. Yeah. I had to ants invaded this is bar. It traveled interdimensionally into my bar and messed everything up. So I needed to move the camera. I needed to move all my bottles just to make sure that didn't happen again. Uh, Actually, I do need to rinse out my shaker tins real fast, so you'll have to give me a sec. Okay. I dropped the shaker. Okay, so we're gonna pour this concoction into the shaker. So that, just a reminder, this was 2 ounces of Empress gin, roughly 1 ounce of lemon juice. It turned out to be like 1 point. It was like 1 1/4 ounce, but as I mentioned, I don't ever measure my lemons and limes. I just squeeze the entire juice out of them because it feels wasteful otherwise. Somewhere between like 3/4 ounce and an ounce. I'm gonna go like a little more than 3/4 ounce of simple syrup just to balance this out. And I actually did add one more thing to this. So we have our sweetener in the simple syrup. We have our main spirit in the Empress gin, and we have our citrus element in our whatchamacallit, in our okay, we have our spirit, which is the Empress gin. We have our citrus elements, which is the lemon juice, and we have our sweetener element, which is the simple syrup. That doesn't mean you can't add more if you want to. So I thought it would be a good idea to add some cognac to it too, so that this with the other ingredients we're about to add to this, it brings it to something resembling a sangre. It's not exactly a sangre, but it's similar. So 1 ounce of some cognac. And then this we're going to shake. So you're going to have to give me but a moment to grab some ice and we will shake this. And then as usual, for me, about 12 seconds. For you, depends on your ice. Let's strain this lovely concoction into our glass. It's a beautiful pink color, much like Malice herself. Now, this wash line is a little bit problematic, actually, for the last thing I wanted to add to make it really hers. If I were making this for her, I wouldn't have poured it all the way. I would have poured it to about here for the last thing. Because this is for me, I'm just going to sip off the top chunk of it. Boy, that's delicious. Boy, that is so good. Oh, you get the raisiness of the cognac. Actually, it's more like fresh grapes, and then the raisins are more coming from. No, I'm imagining the raisins because I know what we topped this off of. But yeah, um, yeah, this is so good. And then the floral notes of the gin. But let's actually make this the way I wanted to, because we've made. So functionally, this is the same as every other sour we've made. We put lemon juice for our citrus. We put simple syrup as our sweetener, and we put Empress Gin as our spirit. We also added a bit of cognac because I know that cognac and gin go very well together. Also, cognac and red wine go together very well. And we knew from earlier, from our whiskey sour, that you can make a New York sour out of just making a whiskey sour and then floating some wine over it. So we're going to do that with our gin, with this gin sour variant as well. Just add a nice flow of Cabernet to it. Because Malice herself has mentioned that she really likes Cabernet, and we have a beautiful pink drink that matches her dress, that matches her design, made with ingredients that would suit her. Empress gin. Empress gin for someone who was a ruler in olden days in her lore. Some Cabernet, which she expressly said that she likes in her debut 2.0. A drink that matches the elegant dress that she wears, that pink dress that she wears. We get that from the very lovely chemical reaction due to the changes of pH between the butterfly pea blossom within the Empress gin and the lemon juice. This the base parts of the gin, and then the acidic parts of the lemon juice, and then that lovely flow of Cabernet once again. And we have a drink that is both visually appealing and mm, mm, absolutely delightful. Gain out the drunk phase and gain into the heart eyes, because this might honestly be my favorite. It's phase cocktail that I made for the new gen. It really is just a perfectly balanced drink. It is so delicious. It is so it gets every aspect right. It's quite, you get sweetness both from every aspect of it, from the wine, from the simple itself, from the lemon juice, which is usually a bit more um which is usually a bit more or sweet than limes. You get it from the Empress gin, and it's like juniper flavor. You get it from the grapes, from it, the cognac flavor, and then you get, it's so complicated and yet so easy to approach, because as on a basic level, it is just kind of just that lovely grapey red wine, along with just like a floral, herbal, lemony goodness. Like on a base level, it is kind of like a super duper fancy lemonade. And if you delve into all of those flavors, like you get, the rind is rich. It's super velvety. It's super like, you get the grapes, you get like a raisin tinge from it, and that melts with the grape flavors of the cognac, and then that all leads with that all gets intermingled with the lemon, which helps you connect to all the herbs and the floral notes of the gin itself. And then it's just the sweetness that permeates through everything, because every element has a bit of a sweet element, and thanks to that simple syrup, we can get a little more out of those flavors and help make those connections stronger. And so that intermingling of flavors, it's it's like lasagna. It's just layers and layers and layers of flavors, but it's combining into one delicious whole, and it's beautiful. And this is not that much more complicated than a sour. So if a sour is just a simple drink with three ingredients, and citrus, sweetener, spirit, we've added two more things on top of that. We added some cognac and we added some red wine. That's it. But this is so much different from the whiskey sour we had at the beginning of the stream. So much, which is so much different from the margarita we had as the second drink, which is so much different from the daiquiri that we made as the third drink. And it could have been much more simple. We didn't have to add the cognac. We didn't have to add the red wine. But being able to expand on that sour formula that I mentioned, being able to add to it thoughtfully things that we think would go good with the things we're about to add to it, because I knew that New York sour works because of the way the wine intermingles with the flavors of the lemon and the whiskey, means that I knew it would work with the gin and the cognac. I put cognac specifically because I wanted to add red wine on top, in fact. Because that reminds me of a sangre. A sangre is very similar in that you put orange juice and you put like orange juice and wine and cognac and sugar. And so, that is another like sour variant. And then just the fun knowledge of being able to turn the main drink pink, because of the fact that I know that lemon juice combined with butterfly pea blossoms, like in Empress, would turn it pink, and it makes it perfect for malice in that way. And it's so, using this formula can help you make so many unique cocktails. And this is why I do treat it like an art, because of the fact that it is a visually beautiful drink. And then there is an art to cooking too, to general like making things that people consume for dietary reasons, even though alcohol isn't necessarily a good part of your diet, but it's something you consume regardless. Woo! it's it's lovely. It truly is wonderful. It's such a, being able to expand on this simple formula is is a huge level up, because of the fact that, once again, like mixology is an expensive hobby because of just how many bottles you have to buy. Like I'll be honest about that. Fair enough. There's a little too much to buy. There's a little too much to purchase. I get that. I get that. But it's, if you have the means to be able to afford some nice ice bottles, and want to experiment with mixing it up, you can make some truly unique and delicious stuff just by changing up very slight parts of this formula. You can just fill in any sweetener, any citrus juice, any spirit, and then like expand on that if something sounds right to you, to like maybe add a couple more ingredients, maybe to use something a little off the wall but still qualifies as for a sweetener, still qualifies for a citrus, still qualifies for a spirit. And you can make super delicious drinks just by following a pretty simple formula. And it's awesome. It's super awesome. Yeah. And with that, honestly, that should be an episode. I mean, we could chat some more if you guys want to. Maybe we can just play Uma Musume as I said, sip some stuff. I don't know. Or we could talk about anime. I started rewatching Bokuben, We Never Learn in English. And it's like, man, I haven't been able to watch a lot of anime lately, to be honest. It feels bad, but it's partly because like I've been so consumed by Uma Musume, like grinding for the it's not Leo Cup anymore. What was the next one? Because I think Libra Cup is the next one. I forget. But it's like yeah, I enjoy I've been enjoying a lot of Uma Musume lately. That's the main thing I've been doing. I really love Our Harder Cup. I can really I can go off about how much I love Unity Cup because it's such the way they changed it. I will admit I was actually getting pretty burnt out on Uma Musume with just the URA finale because it does get pretty samey after a while. Whereas like the URA Cup adds a lot of different mechanics to it that make it feel a lot more meaningful, like your choices matter a little more. That makes it so it's a little less monotonous, a little less grindy. It's still frustrating and it's still an RNG fest, but it's been really cool to like grind through Al Haru, especially to make his champions mean horses. That was super fun. Oh man, I could tell you about like Cody's Wish. That is an American racehorse with such an interesting story that I hope that they make it into Uma Musume, despite the fact that Cody's Wish never raced in Japan. It is a purely American horse, but I swear, man, like Cygames needs to aggressively push American horse racing stories because I don't care what the design of Cody's Wish ends up looking like. It can be like a butt ugly horrible design, but I will like simp hard for Cody's Wish. I will wail for Cody's Wish. Like that story is so beautiful about Cody's Wish that I would like if Cygames can make a Cody's Wish into an Uma Musume, I would go all in for that character because the story of Cody's Wish is just one of the coolest sports stories I've ever heard. Ugh. Speaking of cocktails, have you ever tried the Sprite vodka can? I have not. I've tried there is a canned vodka mule that I've tried that was pretty good. The issue is that a vodka mule is unfuck upable. um, a vodka mule is any vodka mule is just basically a limeade that gets you drunk, and that's why I don't really. I mean, it's just one of the many reasons I don't really respect vodka, but it's like it's hard to make a bad mule. Let's just say that. Well, Bub, how are things going tonight? It's going great. I'm glad that I've been wanting to do this sour episode for a while, and it's been cool to be able to do that. How are you, T? Honestly, we're done with the episode. I made 3 different sour variants, and then I made my own. I made a custom drink that is based on a sour, and it was fun to be able to teach that. But now that I basically spent my wad on what the episode was going to be about, it's either gonna be Zatsudan for now, or we could just end it, and I, I I can just grind Uma Musume myself, or you could watch me play Uma Musume. I'm not sure. I would like to. Ah, man, I guess that's a topic. I play three gacha games right now. I pl- I main Uma Musume, as is probably obvious by all my tweeting, all my discussion about it. Just I've fully fallen in love with Uma Musume. My second game has at this point always been Snowbreak. So ever since Uma Musume came out, it instantly became my number one game, and it made me drop basically every other game. But the ones that survived were the only one to survive was Snowbreak, because Snowbreak has ridiculously easy dailies. You just need to spend 180 stamina, what's it called in game presence, but 180 presence, and then just like do the personal files, which is basically the relationship stories, and then also and then one other thing. Um yeah, and it's for a while those were my only two games, and like I did like legitimately drop everything else. I dropped Blue Archive, I dropped GFL2, I dropped up to be frank, some gooner games like Horizon Walker and Brown Dust 2. I dropped Nikkei. Nikkei was the big one, because as Blue Archive and Nikkei were my big two before. Now it's Uma Musume and Snowbreak, and I dropped Nikkei because it was such a grind fest. I've talked about this before. I'll just rush through it, but yeah, it's the dailies took so long that I just really didn't want to get into it again. Despite how much I loved it, it's just it feels too much like work, and then so it's like, okay, you know what? It's like I love Uma Musume, so I'll happily grind through that, even though those dailies take like 20 minutes because you actually have to do a career mode. But then I also just yeah, the way Nikkei does dailies is agonizing, because you have to do a bunch of shit that is not fun, that isn't the main point of the game. But yes, Poke just mentioned it. The update for dailies means the dailies are shorter. So one thing, I'm I'm shallow and cringe. I saw the Bay Bunny and immediately got back into the game. I was like resold again after like a 3 week to about somewhere between like 3 weeks to a month. It became so much easier to do dailies. Um, so yeah, according to Cap, yeah, I know Cap is a big Nikkei player, and like so for me, who has been a Nikkei main for a long time, it was secondary only to Blue Archive, and now it's tertiary to Uma Musume and Snowbreak. Um, it's it was so agonizing. So what was the flow again? You would go to your friends list and claim your send friend points, receive friend points. That's instantaneous. That's fine. There's a button for that. So friends list, shop, cash shop for your daily cash shop for your daily gems, um regular shop for your daily shopping, just regular in-game items, recruit, upgrade and equipment, upgrade and equipment, collect passive rewards twice, And then so all of that can be done on one screen. So that's fine. That takes you 1 minute, 2 minutes tops. Then you have to go to your outpost, which takes one loading screen. So first of all, you need a loading screen to log into the game. Then you need a loading screen to get into the outpost so that you can do dispatches. Then, that's a one button click too. So the dispatches is instantaneous. But then you have to go into your headquarters. That's another loading screen. So that's 3 loading screens. And then you would advise a bunch of your Nikkeis. Now, you technically only need to advise 3 Nikkeis, if I recall correctly, but you get 10 advices. You should do it 10 times, so that can take a minute or two. And then you have to go back to the main menu. So that's 4 loading screens. Now, this is where it got improved massively. Back in the day, you would have to do the simulation room too. And so with simulation, you would have to, and in fairness, it's just a few clicks to get to the boss battle, but you did need to do a boss battle. And then so you would do your simulation up until you reach the boss, where you just auto all the way through to the boss. But then because you have to load up a boss, that's a 5th loading screen to get into the boss, and then a 6th loading screen to get out of the boss. And then you have to go to interception, where you had to fight a boss daily for equipment rewards. And then so you had to fight a boss to get in there, and then fight a boss to get out. Fight loading screen to get in to fight the boss, loading screen to get out of the boss fight and back into the menus. So that's 8 loading screens just to do your dailies, and it genuinely would take like 10 to 15 minutes every day. So that's 8. Let's bring it back to 4. So we do everything in the main screen. You go to so you load up the game. That's 1 loading screen. You're in the main screen where you can do most of your dailies. That's fine. You go to the outpost. That's 1 more loading screen to do your dispatches. You go into your headquarters to do another loading screen. You go into your headquarters to advise your Nikkeis. That's another loading screen. You go back to the main menu. That's a 4th loading screen. But from there, that's it. That is it. You don't have to deal with more loading screens because there is now they will now automatically let you clear the simulation room, and they allow you to, if you've already done the interception once a week. So you do have to do it once a week. So on the first day, it's still 6 loading screens, but that's fine because you only have to fight the interception boss once. And then so after that point, so on day 1, it's 6 loading screens to finish your dailies. But every other day, it's 4 loading screens because of the fact that once you've done an interception once, you will be credited for that interception all week. So you can just skip doing interceptions the rest of the week once you do it once. And that is such a huge deal because you've cut out 4 loading screens. In addition to the fact that they've made the loading so much better, they've made the loading screen so much faster. It used to be like, for whatever reason, when you boot up the game, it takes like 3 to 5 minutes to load up the game. And then every other loading screen can take like 15 seconds to a minute. And now you're limited to 4 loading screens, and all of them are like 15 seconds tops if you have like particularly bad internet connection. It's so much better optimized. And so, as you say, it only takes like 5 minutes to do dailies now. There still is the problem that if there's an event, you have to read through all the story. You have to read through, you have to go through another loading screen to like read through all the events, etc. But it's a lot better than it was before. And so now I can tolerate Nikkei enough to the point that it is a main game, albeit the tertiary game. Uma Musume is still number one. Snowbreak is number two. And Nikkei is tertiary. It's number three priority. And I still love Nikkei. Like, oh man. Like, it feels bad that I had to drop Blue Archive because I genuinely love that world so much. It feels bad that I've dropped it feels bad that I dropped Nikkei for a while because I genuinely love that story so much. It feels I don't feel bad about dropping BD2. I don't feel that bad about dropping Horizon Walker. It feels good to get more immersed into Snowbreak because of the fact that like there's been a lot that's been added to there's a lot to talk about with Snowbreak, both in the good and bad way. But it's always been such an enjoyable game to me. And then just like I am pretty attached to the characters in that game. I really like the way they do a lot of elements of that game. Not gonna lie, it's kind of a Zerlani and that it's super like Gunner centric. It's super like parasocial centric, but I mean, I kind of dig that. um, yeah, it's I've gotten like super yeah, because of Uma Musume and how good it was, it made me reevaluate all my other gacha games, and it really made me realize that like I can't be spending like 2 hours a day on dailies. I need to cut that out, and that's why I almost every game got cut out because Uma Musume takes a ton of my time already, and I want to spend that time, so it's not a downside. I will willingly play Uma Musume for like 2 hours a day. Um, I will, and like if I have time for Snowbreak, I will dedicate as much time as I want to reading that story, to interacting with my waifus in that game, to like playing the side content of that game because I genuinely find it fun. Um, and then if I don't have time for Snowbreak, well, the dailies take at most 2 minutes because with Snowbreak, it's like, okay, spend 180 stamina. That can be rushing through an event story or rushing through the logistics event, which means you can skip two loading screens. So if you choose to do logistics, you skip two loading screens, and so you do everything in the menus, and then you're done with dailies in like a minute, 1 minute. If you choose to do the events instead of logistics missions, instead of 1 minute, it becomes 2 minutes because you have to do two loading screens. One to go into your base and talk to one of your waifus, and then one to get back to the main menu to claim your dailies. That's it. Two loading screens. And those two loading screens are optional. So dailies are instantaneous in Snowbreak. And then if I want to play more, then I can play more, obviously. If I have time to play more like. And then for Nikkei, yes, it is a little more time demanding in that it can take upwards like 10-15 minutes to do dailies, but that's better than like the 15 to 30 minutes it used to be to do dailies. Let alone the sometimes it takes an hour when there's like two events going at the same time. Uh to finally address this, because I did see it earlier at though. Sorry for or stalling. Have you seen the CN exclusive Nikkei? No, and to be honest, I don't follow CN Nikkei because is so bastardized. He's so bad. Like they had to change the story for the worse in so many ways. They had to like they've done a lot to like really fuck up what makes Nikkei super special story wise and like character development wise, that like I just don't care about also the CN version, despite despite the fact that it has a lot of quality of life. I know that's what a lot of like tourists are really, oh, it's like CN's being treated so much better than us, but it's like, okay, but did you see everything else they did? Like the way they're censoring Nikkeis, the way they're censoring a lot of the plot line, the way they're making their own plot line, the way they're restricting like dark skinned Nikkeis just because they're, I don't know why. Like it's when you see the full extent of what they're doing to Chinese Nikkei, I'm perfectly fine with us being behind on quality life stuff. Not sure how I'm keeping up with the Lane since that takes a while. I guess all battles and multitask and stuff. Yeah. Should I admit this? I don't think I should admit this, but I have a really toxic relationship with Azur Lane. I really hate Azur Lane for a lot of reasons. But I did play it a lot and I spent I'm getting into it anyways. I spent a lot of money on Azur Lane to the point that it is the reason. Azur Lane is on the reasons I was in deep credit card debt. It's for years. For years and years and years and years and years, I was in deep credit card debt. Yeah, I guess I'll just talk about it now. I was like, oh, should I talk about this? And then immediately start talking about it. I was obsessed with the character Taiho. I really loved Azur Lane's version of Taiho, which is weird because ultimately, Taiho is not really who she is. Like, not really a good representation of who she was IRL. That's why I love Kantai so much. And I always started Azur Lane on a bad foot because, like, Kantai was Kantai collection. Kantai was so much more respectful to the history of these battleships. The character designs are fully designed with the actual battleship in mind, much like Uma Musume. I've talked about why Uma Musume reminds me so much of Kankale in a good way in a YouTube video I put out recently. But yeah, like Azur Lane is just so like Gooner centric now that it's like it's pretty disrespectful to a lot of the ships because it's just a vaguely militaristic and or aquatic themed waifu with the name of a battleship, and that's all Azur Lane is. And so like I never had a strong attachment to Azur Lane, but I'll admit, like, I honestly still am. After all, I admit that I play a lot of Snowbreak. Like, I am a gooner. Like, I do like the sexy waifus. Like, I do like those characters. And so when I saw Taiho, she is very much like one of my biggest types. Like, I love a character like Taiho. I wanted everything to do with Taiho. And so like I had fallen into a bad habit of just wanting to spend and spend and spend for everything I wanted. I spent and spent and spent for all the Neptunia's characters. I spent and spent and spent for like various ship girls that I wanted in Azur Lane, despite the fact that I hated the game. Both because I already hated the game for being a cheap ripoff of Kantai Collection, and then for for uh for um for just not being a good game. Let's be honest. It's just not a very interesting game to me. It's, as you say, it's like very auto badly. And then I just fell super in love with Taiho for whatever reason, and I still am. Like, I'm still super obsessed with Taiho. Like, I like Taiho as a character, both for Gooner reasons. I will be 100% upfront, but like I like that kind of cleany, like yandere-ish, like super like romantically attached to you type character. Someone who truly loves you, obsessed with you, etc. Which is part of why I like Snowbreak. Let's be honest. And so I went all in for her, but I couldn't pull her. And like I had just straight up run out of money. Like I had fucked over myself in terms of like credit card debt in order to try to get her, and I still couldn't get her, and I just despised the game for years. And I still despise the game, but for years and years and years I just despised the game. I wouldn't log into the game. I was just so upset that I couldn't pull Tayo because she was the first ship girl, and they stopped doing this thankfully, but she was the first ship girl, which they were like, actually no, we're not gonna add her to the general pool anymore, we're gonna make them exclusive. And it's like, are you fucking serious? So I missed her out forever. I won't be able to get her forever. And like I wasted so much money. I put myself in so much debt. I did so much wrong, and I still wasn't rewarded for it. And it's like there's so much resentment, there's so much toxicity with it. And like again, like I'll be the first to admit once again, because I play Snowbreak, is because it's like, yeah, like I get it. There's a lot of Gunner elements to AL, and it's all it's known for these days. And I've never enjoyed the game anyways. That's basically the only reason to enjoy AL these days. And it's like, as much as I would like a mindless game like that, and I would say the dailies are easy because all you have to do is run 3 of hard 1-1, because you need to, for your dailies, for the dailies that matter, which is to say gain cubes to be able to build and therefore get waifus that you want, you need to build 1 ship. So that's net neutral because you spend 1 cube to get 1 cube. You sortie 3 times, which is to say, we'll get to that. You have to sortie 3 times, and you have to sortie once on hard mode. You can sortie on hard mode 3 times, and you can just do hard 1-1, which is a very easy fight. You only have to fight 1 enemy, and then it's a very easy enemy, and then you say to repeat 3 times and walk away from the game. Yes, you have to actually wait for it to auto battle. It doesn't have a skip mechanic like Snowbreak, like Blue Archive, like Nikkei nowadays. Like so many other games where you can just like, just spend X stamina. Like they don't have that for Azur Lane for some reason. You have to sit through the fight, but at least you can auto it. And then so you start it to repeat 3 times and just walk away. And then when you come back in like 2 to 5 minutes, you have done 3 hard mode missions. You have done your dailies for the week. You have done your dailies, and then you can quit the game. But then the issue is, unlike a Snowbreak, is that sure, the dailies were instantaneous. With the Azur Lane, you actually have to go through the battles, but they were instantaneous in the fact that you barely had to do anything. But then there's nothing else to do in Azur Lane. And then so it's like, okay, what do? I guess I'll like stay on the lobby screen and like enjoy the lewd animations and the lewd character portraits and live 2D animations and mess around with that for a while. But there's nothing else to do in Azur Lane. And so I just can never, in addition to my highly toxic relationship to it, I can just never get really into it. I do like the one okay, I genuinely don't drop games unless I have a very good reason, and this is how I find myself managing shut games and sometimes more. My Uma time is whenever I feel like it, which is play 1 run for the day and stop. I guess that's fine, and there is a really fast way. If you have a Medro McQueen, you only need to suffer through the junior year. I guess owl bows and multitask on something else. Yeah, but it feels bad that there's nothing else to do in Azur Lane. And like, to be honest, like once you try other Gunner games, Azur Lane looks very tame by comparison. Shockingly so. Like, I know Azur Lane pushes it with like how revealing some of the outfits are and how the characters act. If you've ever played something like Girls War or Horizon Walker, or indeed like Brown Dust 2, which I dropped entirely, like Azur Lane is tame by comparison to those games. I remember looking likely Taiho outfits, 100% Taiho outfits, yes. And then sometimes other characters strike my fancy. In the end, like Taiho was the rather Takao was the only one I liked because she was still vaguely militaristic. She was still like a super serious type with like who was kind of cool looking. So I really like Takao from Azur Lane. I really like Takao. Just unironically, I think even above of Taiho, who is my biggest obsession of Azur Lane, I think Takao is my favorite character because of the fact that she's actually like militaristic, like kind of acts the way you would expect a warship to react, and then like, I mean, like the big booba thing is actually meaningful because of the fact that like the Takao class had big fuel tanks. Taiho, well, once again, because I just really love that kind of character. It has nothing to do with the real Taiho. And then New Jersey, not for any reason other than, once again, Goonerish reasons. She has a sexy design, she has sexy outfits, but she's also like a character archetype I like, and like character stories don't matter in Azur Lane because it's a Gooner game. The way she behaves as like a New Jersey character is feels really fun because I'm a New York Giants fan. And now that sounds weird because, you know, New York is not the same as New Jersey, but despite being called the New York Giants, they play in New Jersey. New Jersey is a waifu I really like in Azur Lane, and she is blue themed. Therefore, I claim her as a New York Giants mascot. And that's basically the only reason I like New Jersey. But I really like New Jersey because I really like the New York Giants. I remember looking through Azur Lane's characters, and I remember finding interest in a girl only to realize she's the girl you had to feed others for XP. Yeah, the Booleans. It's not for XP. It's for limit breaks, basically. So, like, you know how in Nikkei you limit break your character, and that leads to more stars? You limit break support cards in Uma Musume, and you can level them up further. Same in Azur Lane. The Booleans you use... The Booleans act as dupes. So instead of needing a dupe of a character, you can use a Boolean instead, and then that would count. A Boolean would count as a dupe to let you limit break other characters. I don't know what Snowbreak is. I don't know what it is about Snowbreak in particular, but even though I'm into things like Nikkei, which can be considered Gooners, something about Snowbreak kind of freaks me out. Yeah, the way Snowbreak changed is a little bit... It's controversial to like longtime Snowbreak players. As a relatively newer Snowbreak player, I'm old enough to remember when it went 100% full Gooner. And like remember the old story, which they've locked away. But I'm also new enough that like I came into Snowbreak for the fan service, for the Gooner elements, for the parasocial elements. So like that's still why I enjoy the game and why I engage with the game. But like I do appreciate what the old guard had to say about it, and why the old guard is pissed about it leaning towards fan service when the main game was failing. I do not have myself a McQueen. That's unfortunate. Once you get a McQueen, dailies are so much easier because so McQueen's first career goal is to get 3,000 fans before the end of junior year. That's both A good thing and a bad thing. One, that's really easy to achieve. But if you are lazy and you don't have a ton of time for Uma Musume, you could just you could just fuck around for all of junior year and then never race. And then junior year ends and then you fail the career, but it still counts as a completed career for the dailies. And then so you finish your dailies. That is the fastest way to do your dailies, is to do a McQueen one where you intentionally don't race or you intentionally fail by the end of junior year. VTubers are my gacha. How do you mean by that? Because I tend to be pretty picky about my VTubers because I very much just pick the ones I like. I'm not loyal to a company at all. I am not loyal to a company at all. I follow individual VTubers that I like. If they happen to be for if they happen to be for V Shoujo, for Hololive, for Niji Sanji, for Face Connect, for some smaller corpo, for indies that are less than even 100 viewers. And in fact, I would say the ones I follow right now are Sleepy, BB, and Irie, who, yes, are all Face Connect, sure. But I would say okay, Sleepy and BB for sure are the ones I prioritize. But then from there, I tend to prioritize pretty small indies that are averaging 30 viewers tops, usually less. And then after that, I would go to Irie, I would go to some other standbys. But yeah, I don't follow companies. I follow individual VTubers. If I see a VTuber or if I see a VTuber I potentially I'll check them out for a bit. But if I don't feel like I vibe with them, I just move on to the next one. And it's maybe that's cruel, but it's also it's I want to be picky with them because it's I don't want to shallowly support them just because they're a VTuber, you know? I want to feel like I can properly immerse myself in them with their chat, with other fans of them, and actually be able to engage with them properly. New Jersey is wife. Yeah, I really like New Jersey. New Jersey is a fun character. I really like her personality. I really like the cut of her jib. I like New Jersey's whole deal. So she's a good waifu for me. Yeah, so it's Takao New. Hello? Okay. Am I liking, or is it just the camera? Yeah, for Azure Lane, it's definitely Taiho number one. Despite Taiho number one, mostly just for her looks and her personality. Takao because she reminds me so much of Kankale waifus, and then New Jersey because I do like her personality. She is pretty sexy, and I'm a big New York Giants fan. And she has blue aesthetic, which matches that. Yeah, I immediately saw the Bulin since I like her. She's really cute. I mean, there are Bulin sips out there. It's just funny that you chose the Bulins because they're the fodder characters. Yeah, that makes Azure Lane free to play friendly. Yeah. I'm not gonna do that. If I'm doing her career, I'm doing the career. Yeah. So when I do McQueen runs, I always do the hopeful stakes. So I don't do any other races because it's pretty bad to do other races. I just prepare for the hopeful stakes, and it's beneficial for two reasons. One, the hopeful stakes is a very good spark. It gives both speed and stamina. And it's a very good race because it gives a lot of fans. It sets you up for the rest of your career, etc. If you place well in it. But also, it is the last race of the year. So if I fail the hopeful stakes, then the career's immediately over, and I finish my dailies. So that works out. That works out if I fail because I finish my dailies. But if it does work out, then I can do the rest of her career, and her career is pretty easy. So I can rush through it pretty well, and still build some pretty damn fire McQueens. Measure on McQueens. But like it also has the fail case of like, well, if I fail the hopeful stakes, I've also finished my dailies hella fast. The closest thing I can think of following a VTuber is Neurosama, and even then, I don't really show up to streams. I just watch videos on channel. That counts. That counts. Consuming clips, and I know I need to do more clips on my own. I need to figure out how to do more shorts. I recorded a short, but I need to do the audios for it. So I have an idea for shorts. My editor actually gave me a good idea for shorts on how to structure them. Like, okay, we'll do the entire making of the drink as B-roll. And then the whole time during the short, I'm explaining the history of the drink, where it's like, okay, this is an improved whiskey cocktail. Oh, this is basically the grandfather of the old fashioned, etc., etc. And then just talk through it. I need to work on a script for it, but I did record it. It feels pretty easy. Just make the drink and record myself making the drink, and then record myself commentating on the drink, and I think that would work out. In terms of, yeah, and it's mostly just one part laziness, one part I don't know when I'd have the time to do it, because like I don't want to bother my family recording the voice line. So I have to, one, write a script for the voice lines, two, make the script 1 minute or less, three, not bother my family. So it's tough. It's really tough to balance all that. But I know I need to make more shorts. I know I need to post more clips. It sucks because I know like a lot of, it's the easiest way to discover a VTuber is with clips, because it's hard to catch streams sometimes. Like it's a good when there's plenty of good clippers out there clipping stuff that aren't just like the out of context sexualized things like, oh, chat went wild when and Narissa moaned on camera and it's just her breathing, like, stuff like that. I mean, I spend money on VTubers but not on gacha. I feel like that's a better thing, because at least the VTubers will acknowledge your presence, whereas the gacha character doesn't really care about you. It's just it's just an illusion that you let yourself buy into. Man, okay. There actually, this was something I wanted to discuss earlier, but I forgot to respond to. Give me a sec. Let me scroll back in chat. Eto, ano. Speaking of games, can't stream heavier games anymore for a while, like RDR2 and stuff. Yeah, so the reason I can't is because this laptop sucks. The laptop that I'm streaming from, I mean, we tried it before. It's why I had to spend $100 on like a cable to connect my phone, and even then, like, it has limited life because it doesn't charge my phone. Is my phone can't even handle GFL2. Rather, my laptop can't handle GFL2. What makes you think it can handle something like RDR2? So this whole setup right now is downstairs. It is in a separate room from where my gaming PC is, where I usually play games. These days, mostly Snowbreak, but like when I used to stream from my room. That's just where my bedroom is. When I used to stream from my room, my gaming PC had Red Dead Redemption 2. It had Grand Theft Auto. It had all these full on games. It has Red Dead Redemption 2, as I mentioned. It's as you mentioned rather. It can handle all of those games to stream and also do all this other stuff. With this laptop, I can barely stream. I can barely stream. Period. um, and so that's why it's mostly hand cam stuff and mobile games. So that's why I can't do like heavier stuff right now. If I would, I could, and I kind of want to, but then that would involve because I would need to move my entire audio setup back to my room, back and forth, or from my gaming PC to here downstairs, and then reset that up, recalibrate it, etc. Maybe eventually, and I do want to try this one day. If I can ever find the budget for it, maybe I will just buy a second mic. Maybe I will buy a second mic stand. Maybe I will buy a second cheap audio interface to be able to do all this. As it stands now, I can't. And I'm sorry for that. I genuinely, like, no joke, not being facetious, I am sorry that I can't play more games because I want to. Like, I don't want my entire gaming experience to be gacha games anymore. I liked being able to one time a week just play a video game with you guys. Just like fuck around in RDR2 and chat about stuff. Shoot other bad cowboys. Shoot shoot the Adventists and the Snowbreak. Shoot play some other or games, Yeah. Oh, guess you can you'd be surprised how long a minute can be. When I record a birthday message for Claire last year, I had to keep cutting it out. Oh yeah, I'm aware of that. There's a great bit from Limited. So it's a podcast called Limited Resources, and I used to listen to it religiously back when I used to play Magic the Gathering competitively. But they had to explain to people, like, yeah, it's not just for competitive advantage reasons. One sec. Not just for competitive advantage reasons. Like, there were some people who really, really, like, stretched out their turns, like, really were really bad at just controlling their turns and just go into the think tank for so long, and it creates a lot of dead air for streams, for sure. But then it's also like agonizing for your opponent too, having to wait for you. And then so when they're Limited Resources has a fun tradition that the co-host, because the main host doesn't do this, but the co-host would often do what's a sign off, and it's not just any old sign off, and it's like, see you next time on Limited Resources, and then the episode ends. What they would do is they would tell some jokes, tell an anecdote, do something funny at the end of the episode to close off the episode on a funny note. And then one of the episodes, they were like, and just to prove to you how long a minute feels, we're going to play a minute of dead air to make you understand how long a minute really is. And then they literally played a minute of dead air before they played the outro song. And it's like, okay, yeah, we get it now. Like a minute of just waiting for your opponent to just do anything is bad. And it really made me appreciate not just dead air in general, but like making sure there's no dead air on stream, which sucks because I have to go back and forth rinsing my shaker tins, right? And a lot of other stuff. It's why I try to like always be talking throughout like the several hours of stream that I do, because like even a few seconds of dead air feels really bad, let alone a full minute. You know what I'm saying? It's it's challenging. It really is challenging to just keep your mouth moving for like 3 hours straight, let alone more if you're doing endurance streams. Like you're playing 7 hours of Hades, like some people have done. Or like, like any endurance stream. Just making sure that something's constantly happening on stream. Like it's crazy to me. It really is crazy to me, like how much you have to fill dead air. Oh, I guess you can do it technically. Thought you were limited by hardware, but I find it odd you used to stream heavier games. Yeah. So this the laptop I'm streaming on now to be able to do these bartending streams, as you can see from here and here, here and here, is all being done from a laptop over there. And so shit. And then also from a phone camera there. And I'm not pointing at my model, I'm pointing at a phone camera. This phone camera there. This alone is taking up most of my RAM. And then so this alone is these two things alone, the overhead camera up there and then the phone camera over here, is taking up most of my RAM alone. And so the most I can do is do these bartending streams, which I do think is better than just general gaming, because it's like it's a unique thing, Like how many VTubers are teaching you mixology like this? So I find it fun to be able to teach you about mixology. I already would have drank a lot on Monday nights like this, where I would just like go to a bar, watch the game with some strangers, enjoy a bunch of drinks, enjoy some good food, and then just like get drunk and enjoy myself and just chat and whatnot. But if I'm gonna do that anyways, I might as well do it on stream, because I get to teach you guys. I get to hang out with more like-minded people, because I can't talk about anime. I can't talk about like gacha games, particularly Gooner gacha games, with other people or out in public. It's more fun to be able to talk to you guys while also doing the thing I would have done anyways, which is get drunk and and just chat about stuff. And so it's really fun to be able to stream like this. The issue is like, because my whole audio setup is down here, I don't really want to put in the effort of resetting up my audio setup every time I want to stream upstairs in my own room with my gaming PC to stream in RDR2 or whatever. And I do want to finish that playthrough, to be honest. I love RDR2 so much, but I do want to finish it someday, even though it'll be heartbreaking knowing what I know about the game. I have spoiled the ending for myself, so I know how it ends, and I'm not eager to get to the end, but I want to see what leads up to that ending. I do want to play more games on stream, but I just don't know how to manage to fit that in my schedule when I have to do a lot of working out, when I have to work out, when I have to like in general just like other life priorities are too busy, etc. And I do wish I could stream more, because I want to be able to make more content for you guys. I want to be able to talk to you guys more. Like that's genuinely my main priority. Like I want to talk to you guys more. I'm lonely. Genuinely, I'm very lonely. And so being able to talk to you guys is, Jesus Christ, I feel myself tearing up. Yeah, seriously though, like I feel lonely. I want to talk to you guys. I want to stream more. I want to be able to just like hang out with you guys more. I want to be able to put out more content for you guys. Just not just mixology stuff if you don't like mixology stuff. Just in general, like I don't want you guys to just see me when I'm getting drunk. I want you guys to see me when like I'm just enjoying myself casually playing some. That's part of why I try to sneak in some more Uma Musume time during stream is because I'm playing a lot of Uma Musume. I'm playing a lot of Snowbreak. I'm playing a lot of Nikkei. Like I wanna share some of that life with you guys because it's like, and then like I don't really have time to play games. Like streaming back then when I had it in my room was like my weekly excuse to play video games because I just don't have time to play video games, like real ones, not just gacha games. And then so it's like I do wish I could play more real games with you guys. I wish I can just chat with you guys more as I play those games because of the fact that I want to talk to you guys. I'm that lonely. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's a sad thing to admit, but it's like I do wish I could stream more. I wish I can chat with you guys more. And it's why, like, even if I don't have a good idea for stream anymore, like, I try to stream anyways because I know it would make me feel good to be able to talk to you guys for a bit, even if it's just to get drunk in front of you guys and yap for a while. I hope to watch it again, given RDR2 isn't really a game I go out of my way to play or even purchase. You should. RDR2 is a godly game. I genuinely think, and I never even finished the game. This is how highly I think of RDR2. I've never even finished the game, and I think it's the best game of all time. It is so fucking good. Is so good on every level. It has some ridiculous, silly moments that are really fun and awesome. It is a very serious story, which is nice and like heartbreaking as you like get attached to these characters and get ripped apart when bad things happen to them. It is it's a heroic story as you get attached to these characters and they do cool things for their like party members and whatnot. It's such a good game in a lot of ways. It's unrealistic enough to be like a weird power fantasy, but it is also realistic enough that it's like it makes you feel very immersed in it. It's there's so much good about RDR2 that like it genuinely is the best game I've ever played, I feel like. And that's saying something, one, because I'm a giant MGS fan, two, because I've been gaming my whole life, three, because like I've never finished it. I genuinely have never finished RDR2 because I'm scared of the ending because I know what happens. But it's like, despite never having finished it myself, like I'm very confident in saying it's the best game I've ever played. Crazy, crazy. What do I want to shoot? Because I want to shoot. I want to shoot something now that I brought this up, but yeah. All the more tragic, though, they make the game so lovable, but RDR1 hints that something bad happened to the old game. Yeah, because, like, you know, the game has been mostly eliminated in RDR1, but then RDR2 being the prologue just makes RDR1 even more tragic because you know that most of that game is dead away. In terms of VTubers with Aragon, I was watching a Bucket Pam. Man, I need to watch more of Bucket Pam. She's such a good VTuber. She is such a good VTuber. She is such a good VTuber. She's like a top 10 VTuber that I've watched. And she's way too small to she is way too small to warrants being one of the best VTubers I've ever seen. She's awesome. Some Irie, I love Irie. I just wish she streamed that time. It's my fault because of my own schedule, but I just can't watch Irie as much as I want to. I really love Irie though. Um, Daya Fortuna. I've heard of her. I don't think I've ever watched one of her streams. Me and Hakia, I am very honored that you actually watch me at all. I'm honored that anyone watches me because you could be watching literally anyone else. Even if it's a VOD, you could be watching a VOD of someone else, a more interesting VTuber. You could be watching YouTube videos that are like much more evergreen, but you choose to watch me for some reason, and I truly, truly appreciate that because I don't know what I did to earn that from you. I have no idea what I did to earn that from you, but you choose to watch me, and I appreciate that. And Hakuya's again. I've said this before. Hakuya deserves to be like one of those like 3 views, one of those 3 views, 4 views, one of those people. He definitely has the personality and talent to be able to entertain a huge swath of people, to be doing this full time, etc. He has the talent, he has the charisma. He is such a cool guy. He is so charismatic. He's just so smooth. He has, let's be honest, a very sexy voice. He has he has a really lovely model that I think would appeal to both males and females. Hakuya has everything. Hakuya has everything. I'm not even exaggerating. Hakuya has everything to be a big VTuber. I don't know why he isn't. Genuinely, like it's just bad luck with the algorithm. It's bad luck with his own promotion. It's bad luck with it, like exposure, whatever it is that is preventing Hakuya from being a big VTuber. It's bad luck. It's bad luck because Hakuya has all the makings of a genuine like top 1% VTuber. Almost. His rig seems scrapped. I mean, maybe, I guess, but it's like me personally, I've never valued rigging that much, but also like I have a really awesome rig from Roberta Mama. Maybe I'm spoiled. Maybe it's like, oh, every rig is as good as mine, but if that's something that's holding him back, that's a really stupid thing that's holding him back. Well, gaming streamer. Oh, is that what you mean? Is that what you mean? Is like is his gaming PC not like good enough to play like super intense games? Not talking about his VTuber raking, talking about his PC. Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm crazy. I'm a dumb asshole. Sorry about that. What do I want to shoot? I kind of want to shoot something. It feels hella weird. It feels hella weird to shoot some Benedictine, but I'm gonna shoot some Benedictine because I barely touch the stuff and it's super good. That being said, it's a weird thing to shoot because it's a you should savor Benedictine, but also I don't touch it enough for it to be like for it to be something I miss by shooting, because it's truly delicious stuff. It's up there with absinthe in terms of like how herbal it is, how like crazy the flavors are, crazy intense the flavors are. But it's a liqueur, so it's not that it's not nearly as strong. Actually, what percentage is it? Oh, okay. It is. Can you say that? Is that readable to you? It is 40%, which means it is a full strength spirit. It is a full strength spirit, but most people treat it as a liqueur. Most people treat it as like in addition to something rather than a main spirit. And so I don't really go through Benedictine that fast, but it's truly some really good stuff. Oh man. Oh shit. Oh god. Woo. Woo. Mm. Uh, oh, shooting Benedictine is weird. Okay, never mind. Don't shoot Benedictine. Oh my gosh, it's a little too intense to be shooting. Whew. Oh my god, that cleared my sinuses. Oh my goodness. Holy moly. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's super intensely herbaceous, and that's why you should savor it. It's sort of why, like, I sip it on its own. Just sip, not shoot. I sip it on its own, and then it's also like a really nice way to accentuate other cocktails by adding just a little bit to it because it's so herbaceous, it's so intense. Chewing it by itself or making it a main spirit is a little aggressive because, yeah, just based on that sip that was left in the shot glass, like you get so many different flavors. You get like a nice sweetness to it. I think it's pretty heavily sugared. You get, yeah, yeah, you get some nice brown sugar and caramel notes, but you get like a lot of herbs and spicy flavors that you can't appreciate when you shoot it. And when you shoot it, it's super intense to an almost unpleasant degree. But I love Benedictine, so that's not, chewing it is not the way to use it. You're supposed to like mix it with other stuff to like neutralize it a little bit, and now you're just adding a lot of fun complexity to a drink. And it's oh wow. Wow, that cleared my sinuses. That was so intense. Jesus. Just you get all those herbs and spices all at once when you shoot it, and that's not really a pleasant experience, despite the fact that it's very pleasant when you sip it slowly or you sip it diluted with other stuff in a cocktail. Sheesh. Aye. Daya is an ex corpo whose corpo blew up, and Zentria spent 10K to buy her IP as an act of charity. Oh, actually, I think I've seen this, right? Because I know there's a few VTubers, a handful of VTubers, some of whom very unfortunately couldn't buy the rights to their model. But like some VTubers did, where it was like, okay, they buy the rights to their model so they can continue streaming as the character that made them famous. And then so they uh yeah, they get to keep their model. They get the buyout from the company. And then so they can keep streaming as that, but it's unfortunate that not every VTuber can do that. And I remember Obaki talking about this in one of her videos. And yeah, it should be a clause that should be more mainstream. I'm going to get going now. It's very late. See you later, teas. As always, sorry for starting so late as usual. Is oh god. My phone camera is just lagging like crazy. Let's just keep it to the top. Let's keep it to the horizontal view. Um Same, Shao. Thank you, Poke, for stopping by. Um, yeah, it's unfortunate that a lot of those VTubers just can't keep their IP. It's unfortunate. And it's like, I wish. So Obakepam found a very cool solution. I'm not sure how viable it is for the companies because, in fairness, like some black Terumi, formerly Terumi. What's her name now? Hodori. Hodori, yeah, Hodori, formerly Terumi. Hodori talked about this in like a very old video, which I'm pretty sure she deleted the VOD of because that was back when she was Terumi, but she wants to continue on as Hodori. Um, to be more respectful, I will only refer to her as Hodori from now on. But anyways, Hodori once did a video about black companies, and she talked about one of her old agencies as a black company, not because they were actively like doing like attempting to do harm to their talents, but just because of incompetence. Like it was as an issue of just them not being able to support their talents well. And it's like there weren't bad intentions. It's simply just the fact that they couldn't afford to give her the help she needed. That's what happened to Sanderia, for instance. Like Chikafuji Lisa talked about how she had to take on a lot of like managerial duties because the managers couldn't handle all the talents at once. It's she had to be like the dorm mother of all the other talents, and then it's like there's all sorts of like there's all sorts of examples like this of just like a lot of indie VTuber companies getting way over their heads. And so like the talents themselves need to basically manage themselves. And at that point, why are you even giving a cut to these agencies? Why not go indie? Because it's basically the same thing. And it's like, Obake, one of the solutions I think would very much work for Bakimam is that Obakimam mentioned was that she thinks that an a corporate VTuber rather, especially of a smaller corporation, should have whatever like the split is between company and VTuber. Like, okay, hey, whenever you get a super chat, like inherently 30% of it goes to YouTube. Like, let's get that out of the way. But then like let's just say in a very ideal world that it's 50-50 for the rest of it. So 70% left, 35%, 35%. Um, some amount of that cut towards management, towards staff, towards the company itself should go to a payment plan from the VTuber themselves. So here's the cut staff takes, here's the cut the VTuber takes. The VTuber should be able to like cut into their cut at. Does that make sense? Yeah, it does. Cut into their cut a little bit more to as like an investment plan. Like, okay, 10% of the money I earn as the VTuber goes into buying out my own VTuber model. That way, if the company goes defunct or the VTuber wants to leave the company for whatever reason they want, like the money they had been pruning for or buying off their own VTuber model should be inherent to the company, because yes, the company probably had to spend a lot of money commissioning the design, commissioning the design, commissioning the rigging, commissioning the promotional material, commissioning the overlays and whatnot, etc. So sure, the company deserves. I do think the company deserves to have that recompensated if if the talent leaves the agency, but also the talent shouldn't have no recourse. The talent should have the ability to be able to walk away with the model. And then so because like they built their whole fan with VTubers, they built the whole fan base with that model, with that character, with that it's lore, with those overlays, with that backstory, etc. Like most of the fans are attached to her, but also that character, that's the soul, which is to say the person behind the VTuber. The soul was behind that VTuber, and most people follow them for that soul. So of course they're gonna find them again if they have to start anew with a new VTuber model. But it's like it sucks if they have to start afresh and for all their old fans to find them again and for new fans to find them in this way because they're starting from scratch and they're presumably a smaller VTuber at the time. Whereas like if there was an option while they were in the company to like cut into their profits a little bit to start a fund for like for one, paying off the VTuber model itself, paying off the assets themselves, and then additionally using that money, using any excess money from that point. Let's say the company is a good company and it's worth staying with them for years and years and years. And so they've definitely overpaid for the model, the assets, everything else, promotional material, everything else. Well, now they can use that excess money to say, hey, management, I want this new outfit. I want these new overlays to go with the outfit. It's like, sure, because like they've taken a little extra money as the budget for doing that. And then let's say for whatever reason, like 3 years down the line, after all, the company has to go defunct. All these VTubers become indie, and like they do need the financial support to resolve this dissolving company. Like they've already paid that off, and so they get to keep their models, their branding, etc. And like that's the way it I do think that's the way it should be, because like yeah, for every Dia Fortuna there's dozens, I'm sure, maybe even way more than that, of like other defunct VTuber companies not giving not just relinquishing control of the models of the other VTubers to the VTuber. Dio was Pixel Link, maybe. I do remember Pixel Link. I barely know anything about them, but the name sounds familiar to me because I did keep up. I did semi keep up with a lot of smaller companies, but I didn't really like super emotionally attach to any of them. Not even Face Connect, which is one of them who actually did grow to become a big VTuber agency. Ugh. Excuse me. Yeah, the soul of Chio Champi, for example, Kaidio, where she bought the Chio IP but not the model. Oh, that's weird. So she is legally allowed to be Chio still, but she couldn't get the model, so she had to buy a new model. So she's going to get a new, more lowly model. Interesting. That's weird. So they're not giving her her model back, but they're giving her the IP so she can continue to be Chi- Chio. So she can continue to be Chio, but she has to fund a new model herself. Is that what? Am I getting that right? Let me know if I'm getting that right while I go grab some water. Water. Ugh. How loud was the gulping sounds? I noticed they were getting actually picked up by the mic, and that's actually kind of embarrassing. Ugh. Maybe I shouldn't chug water so aggressively. Ugh. Okay. Woo. Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, like I want I do want to give benefit of the doubt because it's like after this model, and not just this model, but the last model too. Kazani no Natsu, which I wonder if I can switch to that right now. Give me a sec. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Oh yeah, there they are. There I am. There's the old version of me. Yeah, like both this model and my current model. Like, did it work? Okay. Oh wow, that's so zoomed in. Is this the one that is Let me check something. Let me check something. Oh no, this is the right one. This is the right one. Yeah. Okay. Let's move me because I kind of messed up now. The hmm. Oh, I can just drag myself up, right? You don't mind, right? Because I like being able to show off more of me. Yeah. Okay. And I can put on my hat again, and now it's less in the way. Yeah. Yeah, both of these models, both the Kazari no Natsu, the prison warden, and now Sakatoku no Natsu, the wandering Ronin that you see before you today, were very expensive models. So I can somewhat sympathize with the fact that like the company does want to be recompensated for like just how much they had to spend on these models. I don't necessarily blame them too much for that, but then just making that so public, just making that so out there feels pretty dirty, not gonna lie. Because of the fact that it's like yeah, it's I don't know. It's like okay, yes, the model was expensive. They should get some recompensation back. But it's sort of like you were the ones who failed, and the reasons you were trying to succeed anyways was because of your talents, and the fact that your model going to recompensate the talents, like like part of your losses should be able to relinquish those to the talents who deserve to have an opportunity beyond you for your failure. And so it is pretty icky that like companies don't just relinquish the models to them. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird to me. It's weird to me at the very least. Like I'd because I do remember Dia Fortuna. I remember various other VTubers where like it was a concentrated effort to let them keep their current model from their corporal life into their new life. But it was challenging for weirdly bureaucratical, logistical. I'm not sure what the right word is in this situation, but it feels weird that there's so many hoops for them to go through to just retain the model they got famous off of. Because, like, let's be honest, like you could say one, oh, they only had like a few hundred viewers or whatever, but a few hundred viewers is already the top 1% of streamers in general. Streamers in general, let alone VTubers. And then so like being able to like need to start from scratch from there is such a huge downside. And it would like it's not fair to ruin the careers of all these streamers just because you as a company failed. And it's like I don't know. There as Obakipam says with her suggestion that like a small percentage of the funds should go to like paying off the model so that the talent owns the model instead of the company. Like I I feel like that should be normalized a little bit because of the fact that it means that these VTubers do have more recourse when things go wrong. I don't know. With Rin Penrose, apparently her deal was she had to give her old corporal a cut of her earnings for a year. I guess that's a little better. That still feels a little shady. But if that's the replacement for like, oh yeah, there's a cut that goes to paying off your model in case the company fails. Like I can see that being like the termination package. Like, okay, you agree to giving us a cut for a year, and then after that, that goes off to paying off your model. And I can see that being a fair compromise, especially with someone as big as Rain. In fact, when they're as big as Rain, it's probably not a fair compromise because of the fact that um she's so big. Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of talking out my ass, but it's it's a tricky scenario. Yeah, I don't know how else to like discuss it. Won't lie, I'm just messing with my model right now to just experiment with it, some things. Yeah. Ugh, excuse me. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know what else to talk about, but I don't want to end stream because I like talking to you guys. But yeah, I think you know what? I'm gonna end stream just so that I can just take a mental break, relax, and just like watch some anime on Netflix, watch or maybe a movie, just mentally relax a little bit and just like get over my drunkenness, try to mitigate my hangover, etc. But it's as always, like I appreciate everyone who comes over. Like I do I do wish I would be doing more as a VTuber, as a content creator, etc. I say this every time because it's like, man, I do wish I had the pull of some corpo VTubers. I wish could have like a 3-digit concurrence. I wish I could have all this stuff. But the fact that anyone listens to me at all is also a blessing, and I truly, truly thank you for that. And I hope you learned something from this stream because it really does matter to me that like people understand that alcohol isn't just a way to get drunk. The sours that we made today are genuinely some of the most delicious things you'll ever try. That's Mixology isn't that hard, and that's like people aren't faking it when they describe the multitude of flavors they do when they try a new bourbon or rye or whiskey or any sort of whiskey. You can bring out all those flavors in such a simple way with the sour method. Maybe one of these days we'll do an old fashioned episode where I mean we did do an old fashioned episode where we tried it with various spirits, where we made a gin old fashioned, a tequila old fashioned, a vodka old fashioned, etc. And so it's yeah. I hope I do hope this is valuable to you, and I appreciate that you guys were here at all, that you guys cared at all, and I just love you guys for that. Unironically, I love you guys for that. So, thank you. Thank you for watching me. Thank you for helping, supporting me however you can. I promise. I will work on doing more overlays. On I will work on getting my Discord up to snuff. I will work on everything to try to help me reach that same level as other people. But until then, I'm glad that any of you have stuck around at all, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. It's an honor and a pleasure. So hopefully you enjoy that. For everyone on YouTube, I am ending stream now. For everyone on Twitch, I'm going to raid you into someone. So thank you so much for watching, everyone on YouTube. I will see you next week. I'm not sure what I'm doing next week, but yeah, thank you. For everyone on Twitch, stick around for just a sec and we will raid someone. I'm not sure who yet.